Well, good evening and welcome to the Town Hall Get to Know broadcast. We hope that you're doing well this evening. I've got a great show planned for you. We're very much looking forward to getting to know Ray Coates. I don't know if you've met Ray or you've seen him out there on social media. What a dynamic, loving, compassionate, caring person. I'm just so blessed to be able to have him this evening. We're talking about inspiration tonight. We're talking about a passion to inspire, and that's what Ray has, is a passion to inspire people to achieve their best possible life. And that's so in line with the LWN Live with Nature Foundation. That's what we do. We're about inspiration, motivation, and a platform for positive transformational change. If you happen to be watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube, feel free to go ahead and share this video out. Tell your friends, send it to the groups that you belong to. And if you have a smart TV, you can watch this broadcast on E360 TV on Roku, Apple, Android, as well as Amazon Fire. So we certainly appreciate Ray Coates. He is here tonight. We're going to get inspired through music. I said that we were going to, and I've got a great opportunity here to debut a song that Ray has written specifically for this Get to Know broadcast. It's like, wow, I am so honored and so pleased to have that. Now, I just want to say a few things about inspiration. People like where I know I've got a note here somewhere. I wanted to mention, well, let me just back up here a second, folks. Wait for a half a minute. Here we go. I wanted to repeat this because I felt that it was important, so I just misplaced my notes. Welcome to live TV. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Well, that's what Albert Einstein said. Stephen Hawking mentioned, however difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. And you can. You just have to put your mind to it. So I want to tell you a little bit about Ray Coates. Ray Coates is a singer. He's a songwriter. He is also a poet, a public speaker, and an actor. He's also a cancer survivor. He had cancer 10 years ago, and he's still here to talk about it. And we're so pleased that he is. That is a blessing within itself. He's passionate about inspiring others to find their unique voice by connecting through creativity. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. He released an album, Garden of Life, in May of 2020. That is available for download. He's also written an ebook of inspirational poetry because, yeah, he's a poet too. And it's called Your Glad Journey Companion. And without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and bring in Ray. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, Stephen. How are you?
I am doing very well.
Oh, cool. Wonderful to see you.
Thank you. It is good to see you too as well, Ray. Welcome. How what's your weather like over there? I just got to know.
Do you know what? I know that's the common question, isn't it? That is the question. Actually, it's been a really, really good day. And that actually sounds like a double negative, doesn't it? Because that makes it sound like I'm trying to sound like UK weather is good. It's good. The sun shines in the UK. But no,
that.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a beautiful day. It's been a beautiful day.
Excellent, excellent. So I just want to let the viewers know that Ray is coming to us from the UK. Where are you at there in the UK, Ray?
We're actually in a place called St Anne's-on-Sea, which is near to a very, very well-known place in the UK called Blackpool. Blackpool has a tower. I suppose it's the UK's representative version of the Eiffel Tower, I guess you could say.
Oh, very cool.
We have Blackpool illuminations, so yeah, it's a wonderful coastal area that's very well known.
Excellent. Someday I plan to get over there. I haven't been to Europe yet. I am certainly looking forward to doing that someday. And I'll look forward to meeting you personally. That would be really awesome as well. I've known you for a little while. We met online, and I was just so inspired by the things that you were doing and your messages of hope and inspiration and love and understanding. And so we talked, and I asked you to be on the show, and I appreciate the fact that you are doing that. Now, folks, I said that we were going to be inspired with music. And so, I want to do this. I want to debut. This is the premiere of a song that Ray wrote specifically for the LWN Live with Nature Foundation. And so I put that to some pictures. And in just one moment, we're going to go ahead. And I'd love for you to listen to it. And I want to say before we do this, thank you so very much, Ray. I am honored.
You're welcome.
What's
You're
the name
welcome.
of the
It's a
song?
it's a privilege.
And the name of this song, it was written and produced by Ray Coates, Like to Get to Know You, and it was written specifically for this show. Let's hear it.
Been walking around for days, lost myself in a haze, just looking for a way to see new sense. Gonna pull up a chair, instead gonna learn from all you share. It's time to hear, please commence. I'd like to get to know you. 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 See light through your eyes. I'd like to get to know you. Hear light from another side. Been wandering around so long in a maze, found myself free, the feeling stays. Just looking for release, no self-defense. Gonna sit down with you and share, gonna learn from you and all your care. I'd like to get to know you, please commence. I'd like to get to know you. See light through your eyes. I'd like to get to know you. Hear light from another side. I'd like to get to know you. Come on, say this. Here we go. I'd like to get to know you. Yeah, yeah. I'd like to get to know you. See light through your eyes. I'd like to get to know you. Hear light from another side. I'd like to get to know you. See light through your eyes. I'd like to get to know you. Hear light from another side. Please commence.
Excellent.
Wow.
I know, that's so awesome.
Oh, thank you
How
so
did you
much.
like
Thank
that?
you.
Because that was a surprise for Ray that I put those pictures.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I love the visual, what you've done there. It's wonderful and such a good example of sharing. And that's the whole purpose of me doing that for you, because I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you and grateful for all you do. And
Thank
it's
you.
my gift. That's what I do, and I mean that as in a gift of, I wanted to give something, and there it is, and it was good fun. It's a good fun song as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Ray Coates.
Yes,
That's
that
okay.
was so awesome. And so I noticed that even just I had a few pictures to work with there, and and some of them were really appropriate at the timing and stuff. And so it was really good, really good.
Oh,
Thank you so
lovely,
very much.
lovely.
And yes, that is I'd Like to Get to Know You by Ray Coates. And how awesome was that? That's so awesome. This is the Get to Know broadcast, by the way. This is a show about influential people that are making a difference in their communities. And Ray, you do make a positive impact in community, and
Oh,
I appreciate that and I applaud you. Um,
thank you.
I'd like for you to just introduce yourself a little bit to the viewer so that they can get to know you a little bit better.
Well, that's a tough act to follow after everything you've just done, because I think you've covered all bases really, really well. But
Okay.
I suppose, like many people's lives, my life has been varied. You obviously touched on the experience of cancer. The cancer I experienced was throat cancer. I lost the ability to speak for an entire year, which is no exaggeration. So the voice is just such an integral thing to me. Now, mine, of course, and I make no apologies for that. My voice is important, but it's also taught me to value the voice of others and the disconnection. So I'm very much about using creativity to connect. That's very much about what I do. I'm a father of five. I have five children. So I get to spend time with my children at various times. And yeah, I'm looking to influence and make a difference to as many lives as I possibly can through my creativity. So that's really, in essence, me.
Well, you are very creative, clearly an excellent musician, songwriter, singer. Uh, I'm very impressed, and I just love seeing your posts on Facebook. It's always really uplifting, motivational statements, and I just find you to be a very compassionate person, and I think that that's what connected me to you as well, because I loved your message. I love the way that you also refer to imagination, because I think that we're going to be talking about that.
Mm, mm,
Imagination and creativity are really important. I
mm.
know that as adults, we can tend to, well, not forget, but just not be as imaginative as when we were young. Now, I want to ask the viewers, do you remember when you were young and how creative that we used to be? And, we could dream up all kinds of stuff. Some people, like our parents, would go, "What's wrong with you?" But, one of the things that I noticed that you said is that you're a dreamer, and I
Oh yeah,
connect with you there,
oh
right?
yeah. Well, it's a funny thing, isn't it? In life, I don't know why. I think it's a societal thing. It's very much a conditioned thing that you reach a certain point where you need to grow up. And it's a funny phrase,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's a funny
Yeah.
phrase to grow up. Think, well, we're constantly growing, but to grow up. So we lose that. We lose that childlike view of life. And I mean in its fullest sense. I've actually written a song on a Christmas album. I'm working on a Christmas album at the moment. And one of the songs is called Joy of a Child. Joy of a Child. Now, to actually view life as a child does is would be such a wonderful thing. It'd be such a wonderful thing if people could be less cynical and less serious at times as well, but to have the joy, to have the gratitude, to have the love that is naturally inherent to a child. And I think that's very important to me in all of my creativity.
Unmute me. Did we lose your audio?
I lost you for a moment. I went off on my own.
Oh,
Welcome
So
to
I,
life.
I
enough.
don't, yeah, I don't know whether I was heard or not, but I went into
Oh,
the
yeah,
stream
yeah,
on my
yeah.
head, but that's okay. That's all good.
It's all
It's all good.
there. One of
I had
these
a
days,
solo. I flew solo for a moment.
well, we put you up solo. That was the whole intention.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
You're a great speaker. I know you can handle yourself well by yourself up there.
Oh,
But I just wanted to mention this, that I feel inspiration and that imagination really is a gateway to
mm,
creation,
mm,
and that thought is creative. And I'd take it even a step further, that I do have a higher power. Those that watch me know that I do, and I call that God. And I
mm,
know that you do too as well, Ray.
mm, mm,
And but some people don't believe in God. But it's got how many names? Maybe 100 different names that God goes by. It could be the creative intelligence, the universal thought. It can be a lot of stuff. But I tell you, and I've done some studying, when I got down to it, I think I recognized that God really is the creative thought that
mm,
created everything.
mm,
And when we are creative thinkers, that then we can really do some dynamic things. And you
mm,
certainly have done this. So I'd love for you to tell the viewers about how, when you were young, you used to use your imagination and you used to dream about things.
You've
And
you've read
maybe you
my
could
blog.
share that
You've read my
story.
blog.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
how that dreamer concept of a person, which I was always called, you're just a daydreamer. Stop daydreaming.
mm,
Supposed to be paying attention in school, I was, but
well,
how did that impact you to the
well,
things you're doing today?
it it's the way things are made. It's the way things are made. If we think of inventors are dreamers. So sometimes creativity and dreaming can be viewed negatively. But for me, it comes in its purest form. I am creative through words, through music, through sound. But it started as a young child. So I used to write a lot of poetry and a lot of stories. And I would go to bed at night, lay my head down on the pillow, and I would pretend that my pillow was a television set. So basically, I would pretend on the pillow there were a variety of different controls that I could turn to then choose what my dreams would be. So I could actually manufacture my own dreams. I could decide what I was going to dream about that night. And oftentimes it happened. Some people, if we move into the adult world, so to speak, would refer to that as lucid dreaming, visualizing. And I believe, much the same as yourself, Stephen, that there is a gateway of creativity that we can open up. And I think very importantly to open up for others as well.
Yes, I agree. And now I'm kind of also curious too, about how you felt imagination and creative thinking went into leading you to be a poet, because you even got a book of poetry.
Mm, mm, yeah. Well, words are so powerful. I mean, I've read various scriptures, I've read various works of fiction, poetry. I've acted. I've played various Shakespearean roles,
Hmm.
and you put a few words together in a good way. I mean, obviously, words like anything, like speech, like our hands. Anything can be used as sadly in a negative way, but of course, it can also be used in a positive way. And from a young age, I was very influenced by these groups of words that went together that created tremendous influence. And it's followed me throughout. I've studied the Bible. I've studied the Bible very much and various other scriptures as well. So I know passages of the Bible really, really well. Um, And as I've said, works of poetry, works of really well-known writers, and I think it's the
Mm.
impact. And then that led to music, and I thought, okay, well now there's music and lyrics combined. Well, that's now a double whammy. That can now create even more impact and even more influence, and that's really what brought me to the creative person I am.
That's so awesome. I know that uh, you recently started a program. I think that that's referred to is the songwriting, writing your
Mm,
unique
mm,
DNA songs.
mm,
Facebook group as well involved, and you reached out to me, and I really wanted to be a part of that, but I just timing wise, I wasn't able to cut away. But
sure.
I immediately identified because I have written lyrics for songs. I'm a bit of a poet. I think in the past I have, but I hadn't been being creative in that kind of a sense. And that's
Yeah.
what inspired me about you as well. Is that you take this seriously. That's so
Oh,
cool.
I love that. Well, it's a valve. It's a valve that exists. So when I'm opening that up for others, it's already there. It's already there. So what I'm doing is I'm just facilitating the opportunity to open more. Commonly used phrase. I used to write a lot of poetry when I was young. I used to paint a lot when I was young. What happened? What happened? And this is part of, again, this conditioned way of
Yeah.
being. We get into the mainstream of life, media, and it's then, you have to have that 9 to 5 job. Well, the world's changed and the world is changing. And there
Hmm.
are so many opportunities for people to affect now and affect the future. Um, and a lot of my social media content is actually the opposite of what we're experiencing at the moment. And that's not necessarily because I'm not experiencing it like everybody. I'm affected because we're all affected
Hmm.
because it's the mainstream of what's going on. But I look at it and I think, well, what's the true antidote? And the true antidote is our purpose is to be creators, and that's all of us. So
I agree.
that's not just me. That's not just me.
Right. No, I agree.
I happen to do it more, but I want to create that opportunity for people who can just open up that doorway of inspiration, imagination, creativity, because actually it tells us a lot about ourselves as well.
Yeah.
We learn a lot by creating.
Yes. Yes. And I like what you said, as we get older, we get conditioned and now I know that leading towards where I want to go with this is that you wrote a song, as I recall. Let me just see if I can see that in the notes here. Um, the Voice Within project,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
Voice Within project, and so you wrote this song, and then apparently it then got used with the Voice Within project.
yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're
And
absolutely correct.
okay.
Absolutely correct. I
And
Yeah,
then this was done specifically to raise funds for homeless shelter.
yeah, yeah,
For
yeah,
homeless
yeah.
shelter.
Well, this is where the initial inception of the song, or conception, the conception of the song, was 2 years after my cancer experience. I tend to pretty much write every day, pretty much write every day, especially now.
Hmm.
But for years, I suppose a few times a week, I would always write something. For 2 years after throat cancer, I wrote nothing at all,
Mm.
not not a single word. So to some degree, I can say this, to some degree, forget the fact that I couldn't communicate, that made no difference to writing. But of course, there was some residual emotional blockage from cancer, and that's something I didn't understand at the time, and a spiritual blockage too from it. And that's
Mm.
something I didn't understand at the time. But 2 years after my experience, I wrote a song called The Voice Within. And it was basically to reach out to anybody who felt isolated, disconnected.
Mm.
Now, through the passage of time, I've realized that that song I wrote and many others that I've written are universal in their message. So, for example, people who live on the streets, even though it's not living, are isolated, they are disconnected,
Mhm.
and there are many areas of life where that happens with people. So, I have a song and I have a mission, which is to use that song and to use other songs to create more connection, to create more awareness, to create more harmony. I see music and words as such a powerful force that it can change the world. It has changed the world.
Yes.
It's done it already. Many writers have done that where they've influenced the way people think. And for me, that's what I want to do, as you've mentioned, through a songwriting program, so individually, but also bigger. I think, well, why not? Why shouldn't that be a valid and valuable aim to influence as many people as possible through
Mhm.
through the songs I write?
That's yes. So awesome. And another reason why I know that we're connected, because I have my own story about the homelessness thing.
Mm,
And, I recognized, I just told this story the other day about how, when you're in a situation like that, the world is going by you at a pretty fast pace. And so to bring this around is that when we get older and we're all wrapped up in our jobs and we're doing everything that we can to just do that daily grind,
mm,
that we're forgetting about just slowing down and, as they say, smelling the roses.
mm, mm,
And
mm.
and so that's kind of where I wanted to bring that together. But I'm so proud of you for thinking
Yeah,
about people that are homeless, because it's a big deal for the LWN Live with Nature Foundation to help people like that and give them a hand up.
wonderful.
And just talking about this earlier, it's not a handout,
Yeah,
it's a hand up. Okay,
exactly.
help people to be able to get their life back is the goal, and to get the life skills and the resources that they need to be able to integrate themselves back into society as a contributing member. And so I applaud you for what you're
Well,
doing for the homeless. That's so
well,
awesome.
well done. Well, it's easy to happen. This is the stereotypes that I learned from supporting that organisation. And again, an often used phrase when people say life returning back to normal. And I'm afraid that one sticks in sticks in my gullet a bit, because I think what's normal about life pre where we are now, there was nothing normal about it. The disparity between people who are without and people who have far more than they would ever need. And I think, well, for me, that injustice, the social injustice that appears in so many ways, um, anything I can do and anything anybody else can do and join forces with others has to be done, because what
Hmm.
is acceptable? What is acceptable about it? Nothing. Whatever the reasons,
Hmm.
and it's not true in every case that everybody, finds themselves on the street because they live a certain lifestyle. Sometimes the lifestyle is after they've been on the street. So I think it's very
Yes.
easy to sit in judgment of others, and I'm just glad to try to do everything I can to support those that it's very easy to stand and judge. And I've been homeless twice now. I've been homeless twice,
That's
categorized as
amazing,
homeless. So
because I was
it's,
going to ask that question. Absolutely, I was going to ask,
yeah,
had you ever been homeless?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Even in recent times, even in the last few months,
Wow.
technically, it's a long story. I won't share it now, but it's
No, that's fine.
it makes you realize. It makes you realize that circumstances can change very, very quickly for any single one of us. So
Yes.
an appreciation of our brothers, our sisters, is so important.
It is, because dire circumstances, or circumstances as a result of our own actions, which were the case with me. I mean, I created my homelessness, never
Mm,
imagined it, Never even thought about that for a second, but I created it all right because I wasn't paying attention to doing the right stuff. But it changes a person's perspective 100%. Uh, or somebody becomes complacent, and that was always my problem. Complacent, even being homeless. I don't have to answer to anybody or anything or all that, but it's not necessarily the lifestyle I would change. My statement is I love camping, but I just didn't want it for a lifestyle,
Yeah, not permanently. Yeah,
not permanently,
exactly. Yeah,
I mean, so, and everybody to their own. But yeah, it can happen to anybody. And it's happened to a lot of people as a result of this COVID-19 and the pandemic,
sure, sure,
you know?
sure.
It's put people out of their jobs. It's put them right out of their houses and onto the street. And so those people do need our support, and I'm so glad to connect with you on that level as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, totally. And I no doubt we will more in the future as well in many ways. No doubt.
I can see that. I can absolutely see that.
Yeah,
We do have plans, the LWN Live with Nature Foundation plans to set a template here in Sarasota. That's what we're working on right now.
yeah.
But to take
Well
that
done.
template to other cities and then other countries, absolutely
Wonderful.
100%. So we'll
Wonderful.
talk about that another day. But
Yeah.
um, let's talk about how people, they really do connect to music. And we love listening to our favorite music and our favorite band and stuff like that, or our favorite genre of music. Why do you think that music has such power over people? What's going on there?
I think when you engage as many senses as possible at the same time, I've done a little bit of a study into making memories, and the memory operates and we experience far more when we have a number of different senses working together at the same time.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not disparaging creation in terms of animal life, because I believe firmly that all life is precious and sacred. So, not just human life, but all life.
Right.
But we are distinct. So, as a creature, we are distinct. We are one of the only species that we paint, we write, we sing. So, we are made to create, we are designed to create.
Hmm.
So I think when we hear creation and we see creation, and it could be much like I know with your work, it can be nature. Nature sings to us.
Hmm.
Nature, you know, um, engages all our senses. Food. I lost the ability to taste for a year as well as to speak.
Hmm.
And believe you me, food is not easy to eat when you have prolonged loss of taste. So what I'm saying is music, it's like a firework display, of the senses, of the ears, of the heart becomes involved. Everything is stimulated within us. Now you add visual to that and words to that, that's a powerful. Now we're talking about a cocktail. We're not just talking about, a single thing, we're talking about multiple. So for me, that's where the vehicle of music is powerful. And I looked at it in that way when I first started writing.
Hmm.
I wrote lyrics, I wrote words. That's where it began. But I thought I want some form of transportation for this. So music, for me, is almost like the vehicle,
Hmm.
and and the words, lyrics, is like the fuel. It's like the fuel that drives the vehicle. So you get the two together. You're going somewhere. You now got more destination. So that's my vision on the power of music.
Music is powerful. I know locally here we have a drum circle. I don't know if you've ever done a drum circle or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I have. Yeah,
The drum
yeah,
circles are so powerful. They're done down here
amazing.
in Siesta Key. And there's just something about it when, you've got 20 or 30 drums and they're all going and the rhythmic.
Mm.
tune of it is just coming together. Nobody practiced this stuff; they're just doing it, and it like just grabs a hold of you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Well,
I think it's really almost like a spiritual experience for me.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, you sing and dance either literally, and we can, or we sing and dance in our soul, in our spirit. And it's no surprise that music is attached to spirituality. And I do believe it's an awakening. And as a writer, when I write, I say it how it is. I feel divine. I feel divine, and I feel I am open to spirit. Because a lot of times I write and I think, where did that come from? Yeah. In fact, most times I write, especially these days, I write, where did that come from? It didn't. It didn't. It came through me, but it
Yeah.
didn't come from. It didn't come from me.
Okay. Do you refer to that as super consciousness by any way,
Yeah.
which
Totally.
could be
Totally.
God in my mind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. But because there is a one. There is a oneness. There is a
Yeah.
oneness. You know, and the connection. The connection. So I connect with you. You and I have never met in
Right.
terms of
Not in person.
physically
Yeah.
yet. But there's a deep connection there, and I've experienced this with many, and I know you have too. So that oneness, that connection, when we tap into that even more, which is why I encourage creativity so much, because it's liberation, it's freedom. The world is filled with distraction,
Mm-hmm.
so 100% we can actually create our own distraction. We are multi-sensory beings. So therefore, we need to find ways to take ourselves away from what we at times can be plugged into and tapped into, which is completely the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Music has a way of relaxing us or picking us up, and I always love hearing songs that literally you want to just get up out of your seat when I'm sitting down and start dancing. And it's like
Yeah,
it connects right at a soul level. I know that it does.
yeah,
And then the words have a lot to do with it. And what I've learned is that as a kid, I'm a 70s rock and roller is what I was listening to. And uh I loved a lot of the music, but I had no idea what the words were. you know, just didn't
yeah,
even have a clue what the words were.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I found out some of the words, and it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't be listening to that.
uh, we're forever learning. We're forever learning.
Yes.
I've listened to a number of different songs, even coming into the recent years, and I thought, oh, I really like that. And then somebody's told me what the song's about, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, right. I'm not quite too sure I feel the same way now, but anyway, never mind.
And I'm thinking honestly, when it gets down to it, was what got us in the first place was the actual music itself,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
necessarily the words.
yeah,
And so maybe, I mean, words can be put to anything, but it was that uh, just that coolness or connection that you just like the rhythm and the melody or whatever it is. I don't know. So if we're
completely.
not hearing the words anyways, it's not affecting us, right?
It's all about
Or
the music.
was it backward
Well,
math and we're getting some subliminal messages or something that God knows?
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Mhm.
So I want to go to creative thought again too, because it just has so much to do, I think, with everything. I mean, everything starts with a thought, and then it takes creating an action plan to make things happen in a person's life.
Mhm.
And you made a statement because I was looking at your website in blog. I believe that you just posted up there today,
Mhm.
and you made a statement about how imagination is the spark to illuminate liberation.
Yeah,
Yeah, can you explain that for us?
yeah. I mean, life begins somewhere. Life begins somewhere, so it originates. It originates. So to open up freedom, we have to be released. And imagination is free from judgment because it's not controlled by existing perception. And that's everything in life is. That's all it is. Think of opinion of others, opinion of self. It's a perception. So it's a form of reality, but it's only our form of it. And I feel I'm looking for keys. I'm looking for keys to release in me. I'm looking for keys to release in others. And I think imagination, creativity unlocks true freedom because it's within. Sometimes we can feel that freedom is, liberation is elusive. It's out with, but it's actually within. So that's why I think imagination is so important to be fully liberated.
So well said. Um, I just know that I was a dreamer. I was called a dreamer. I was made to feel bad about the fact that I was a dreamer is kind of the way I interpreted it. And I don't even know that that was the intention, but maybe it was, and it doesn't matter anymore anyways. But I just recognize now as an adult, and it took a long time to sink in how important imagination and getting back to that childlike dreaming and having goals and ambitions and stuff is so important in working towards achieving what I consider to be a success, which would be finding our passion that we're passionate about, like you're passionate about writing and creating music and creating song and then sending a positive message or a connective message to everybody that you can. See, that's really making a big difference for a lot of people. And
Well, everything, Stephen, has to begin with a dream.
yeah,
Everything
it did.
does. You could say dream is idea, thought. Well, every day we dream, not just every night. Every day we dream. We think of things. We think of, what we would like to do and how we would like to improve our life, how we would like to improve the lives of others. So we're dreaming anyway. We're dreaming, we're visualizing anyway. But I
Mhm.
think it's the choice to make that
Yes,
positive, to make
right.
that positive. So I had a dream one time, probably in my late teens, early 20s, that I actually wrote the song Imagine with John Lennon.
Mm,
And in some ways, it was a little bit more than a dream. It was so real. It was very much a spiritual experience. So when I
yeah,
think of those words, you may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm
yes,
not the only one.
right.
So just think of that. Think of the power of connective, collective dreaming. When we stop, when we say the world is as it is, that's it. It's done. It's as it is. Well, where do we go? We stay where we are because there's nowhere to go. So we need to dream. We need to imagine because that is the seed of change.
Hmm. That's yes. So, and I'm glad that you brought that up. I hadn't thought about that for a minute about John Lennon and
Mm,
the song Imagine. It truly is one of my very favorite songs, and so powerful.
yeah,
And yes, that is a dream. It's an optimistic dream, but that's what we're trying to do these days, and that's another reason why you're on this show is to let people know that they can imagine world can be a good place.
yeah,
And it is about where we're focusing our thoughts on.
yeah,
You said it's a choice, just like you mentioned,
yeah.
to either focus on the positive or focus on the negative. And there's so much negative, it's easy to do that these days. Turn on the
Yeah,
television, look at your posts, what's coming down on the feed on Facebook or whatever. I mean, there's just so much terrible stuff out there, and it's created so much fear.
yeah,
And it's a sad situation. So that's why people like ourselves and all the others, and even the people that are watching this, we need to take action. We need to use our voice, like Ray has mentioned, in our
Yeah.
imagination, and visualize that this stuff can be different,
Yeah.
because it can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally. And that's a positive change. That's creation.
It's
Creation in contrast to destruction. And we have the power.
we do have the power, and it's a difficult place sometimes for some people to see that we have that power, because they're so I use the analogy, and I was there, and that's why I use this analogy, is you couldn't see the forest for the trees that are standing right in front of me. I was just blinded. And that's where slowing down, taking care of ourselves, and nurturing ourselves through writing. I think I found a lot of healing through writing, because writing and music is healing.
Yeah.
And doing things like, and I haven't done it often, but just writing the stream of thought, and that tunes us into exactly where our minds are, and writing down every single thing that we're just observing, and then going back and looking at that and going, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I
Yeah.
was thinking. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
So it's a
yeah.
matter of aligning those thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aligning those
Well,
thoughts.
well,
Now,
it's
go
it,
ahead.
it's construction, isn't it? If you think of putting sentences together, putting words together, it's construction.
Yeah.
So lots of people recognise journaling now being a good thing, being a positive thing. So if we journal our thoughts, if we write them down, that construction helps us then to more clearly actually understand our thinking. Now, what I'm holding out as myself and holding out to others is even more so that way. Um, Popped into my head an artist called Gary Newman in the 80s.
Mhm.
He was a part of the synth pop, the synth Britannia, and all of that kind of movement of music. And I remember watching a documentary on him, and he said about the construction of music. It was like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle, and I find that myself sometimes. So my mind is constantly almost making and solving puzzles through music and through lyrics. And what I'm encouraging others to think is they might feel, but I can't do that. You can do that. Ray can do that, but I can't do that. Or you might feel, Stephen, you can do that, but others can't do that. That's not the case. We all have the ability to create. And I think that really does help. It's helped me a lot in my life to
Mhm.
actually construct and deconstruct feelings, thoughts. And I now hold that out to others. So, yes, I write my message for others, but I also write their messages too. So that's another service I hold out to people, to actually write their songs, their thoughts, their feelings. And actually, it's very cathartic. It's very healing, very therapeutic.
Now, that's part of this writing group that you've got going, right? Is
Yeah,
writing your DNA song.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
absolutely. There's two forms it can take. One, I have an online program that
Yes.
can coach people, train people to do that themselves. It's a lifetime access. It's a plug and play. Or I can actually write people's own personalized songs, what I refer to as their signature songs. So rather than pinching somebody else's song, borrowing somebody else's song as your walk on song, I write your walk on song.
See, that's beautiful. I mean,
So,
my mind immediately went to like wedding songs.
yeah,
And it's like, oh, well, that's our song, right? you know, Whereas we should be writing our own song.
that's it.
How
Henry
beautiful.
David Thoreau. Henry David Thoreau said, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation and go to their grave with their song still in them.
Mhm.
My message is not me, but my message is also not you, not anybody else. I'm here, and I believe my purpose in life is to write as many songs for as many people as I can, and also to convey as many messages as I can through the art form of songwriting."
Now, so you've got an online class that people can be involved with. We're running your website across the ticker,
Oh, thank
so
you.
folks definitely, uh, reach out to Ray. He's
Mm.
so awesome, and he can help you with this. And you're also doing these pretty dynamic Christmas deals. It's called ICM, In Christmas Memories.
Yeah,
Can you
well
tell the
done.
viewers about that?
Yeah, I've written a song. It appears on the Christmas album. It's actually part of the online songwriting program as well. But I've written a song called In Christmas Memories. My mentor, Rebecca Adams, I've done a lot of work with her, which has really helped me, said to me, one of the few things that's not left when somebody leaves this earth in the present form is their voice. And we have cards, we have keepsakes, we have photographs. But sometimes over time, we forget what somebody sounded like. So I came up with a concept through Rebecca's suggestion of a Christmas song where I can actually put people's voice notes within it. And I've had a really good response, and many varied responses. So people can send me their, so through Facebook Messenger or any other medium, they can send me audio clips, and then I edit those into the song. So it becomes a vocal Christmas card that lives forever.
Hmm. That is so dynamic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's beautiful. And I do video as well. So if they have any photographs, and I've done it for a few of our friends.
Yes.
I know America's a big place, but stateside, I've done a lot so far for many different contacts, and it's
That's
beautiful. It's beautiful.
as I was going to say Americans, although I'm from Canada and I'm still not actually a citizen. That's okay, though. I'm legal resident. Alien. North American. Yeah, right.